This year, since I made a resolution to get better at all things AI, every month I have read tens of different articles about how AI can change our lives. I've watched more than a dozen different tutorials about using AI, and I would say my fair share of YouTube videos where experts talk about what new is upcoming and the way I can use it to earn more money or just save a lot of time. All of this advice, all of this information has been well and good. It hasn't made me use all this generative AI more often in my life. It's just my time spent learning about them. For the beginning few months, there was no place where I could see where I would start even using it. And this doesn't just have to be your personal life. Even at professional life, I see a lot of my colleagues who have gone through trainings with me every week since the beginning of this year to learn about all the things AI can do, but it's just a flood of information put our way, and there is not enough opportunities where we can sit down, take a breath, and figure out, okay, this is where it makes sense to use it. Today, what I want to talk to you is about some easy ways we can integrate AI into our life by looking into some of the problems which it can solve for us. The pickup of using this tool shouldn't be difficult. It should be free because, again, it's available on our phones, in our computer, just everywhere these days. It should be fast. You shouldn't be needing any kind of complicated 10 iterations of prompts to get the correct result. And there should be no PhD required. It's an easy to use tool, especially if you're not trying to do anything very complicated with it. Hi, I'm Ronnie, and you're watching Predictably Clueless. Today, we will look into all these things and more. Amongst the general population, and by general population, I mean anyone apart from the top 1% who are experts, they understand the limits and uses of AI. Everybody else belongs to two big groups. Either there are people who have just a free service, or maybe they even have a full subscription of 10 AI platforms, and they're using it like a magic 8-ball. They're going to ask it about if they should text their ex, about relationship advice. They're going to ask it about a medical condition that they have. None of this is great. But on the other end of spectrum, you have people who are paying maybe $200 a month for a fancy calculator. They'll ask, hey, multiply this for me. Neither is great when thinking about using generative AI. The reality of it is the balance in using generative AI is somewhere in between these two groups. You want to know how you can start using it, where you can use it, but also you must understand the risks that you're taking in trusting the output generative AI gives you. You should be comfortable with using it, and it's great when you're using its more powerful features, like being able to crunch in almost seemingly infinite amount of information and generating something useful out of it, or being able to do repetitive tasks like writing simple code or creating some Excel sheets with a lot of formulas. Even 2 years ago, I was creating an Excel tool at work, and maybe I spent a couple days trying to make that spreadsheet look nice, work nice, not throwing out errors. And now generative AI is able to write those formulas, make that spreadsheet in 5 minutes. It's awesome. It saves a lot of time. But I needed to have an idea what I was looking for to automate using generative AI before I could use it fully. And that is something we need to do too. Anything where you spent a lot of time, whether it was browsing through multiple recipes to find a good one, creating a meal plan, finding, a basic fitness regime by doom scrolling through influencer social media pages, 20 hours of research, planning a party, looking into themes, etc. In all of these things, you can save a lot of time by starting with generative AI. Then, based on the output you get, you put a human perspective to it. You make the AI's suggestions into your own plan, into your own thing. But make sure that when you start using it, you don't overthink it. You are stuck with a problem, you think you're going to spend 20 minutes researching it, write a prompt, get an initial output from your generative AI. But don't trust it. Don't use it as a final result. Use it as the first step. You want to save time you're spending on internet. says the person who's trying to make a YouTube video about it. That is the real use for AI. You spend less time doing all these internet searches, etc. You save that time, you spend it on something more real. This is definitely not fully end-all be-all of automation dream, but given how good social media has gotten into keeping our attention, a tool like this that can help us browse through all the internet of information, it'll make us more productive by saving our time doom scrolling on someone's Instagram page. The amount of time you save, you can then spend on doing some other tasks or just spending time with your friends and family. That is what I believe a big benefit of generative AI, making our exposure to internet and all these social media companies' addictiveness a little less. Let's try to talk through different problems, and I will put timestamps down below where we'll first try to look into some general planning, where you can start using AI to spend less time doing some of the repetitive things. Then I'll talk about some things that can help parents, prompts, or some ways it can be used by students. Don't try to use it for anything and everything. Try to balance the way you're using generative AI. So for the first point, let's look into meal planning and your dietary goals. Before you just pick up AI and start talking about diet plans, if you have a medical condition that needs you to have a specific diet, please do start with recommendations from your doctor. Generative AI is not your doctor, and you should not be using its advice for planning your diet or planning your meals. But for everybody else who does not have a medical condition, you can definitely do this. You can show it a picture of ingredients that you have in your fridge or in front of you, and you can ask it to create a meal plan for you. Or you just wanted a low gluten diet, low carb diet. You don't have those ingredients. You can ask it to make an initial plan for meals and the ingredients you would need to buy to start preparing those meals. Of course, you can also ask for recipes to go along. And again, in the past, you might spend half a day researching through different websites, trying to get different information. And after all that time, you would have an initial draft. With generative AI like ChatGPT, you could just have that in 5 minutes. Might have to write 2 prompts asking first about meals you should use for that kind of a diet, and then asking for ingredients and recipes. Do give it a try, especially if you are one of those people like me who open a completely full fridge and think, oh, I have nothing to eat. An easy problem to solve is take a picture of all the ingredients you have, send it to your AI, ask it to recommend a meal based on all the ingredients. Might surprise you how efficient it is. The second point is also something very similar, where we face a problem where we don't want to start exercising or any kind of fitness activity that's really beneficial for us. And a big problem there is sometimes you don't know where to start. You're at home, you don't know what kind of equipment to use. You don't really need to, but just having a plan to implement is usually a stopping point for a lot of people. What we can do in this scenario is ask a generative AI to create a 20-minute workout plan for beginners with no equipment. Again, you can also doom scroll through YouTube and other social media platforms to look for this. But let's say you've come back from office, you have some time before you start preparing your dinner. What you can do is you can quickly ask it to create a 20-minute exercise plan, something like you're a fitness expert. Create a 20-minute full body workout plan for beginners with no equipment at home. Include some warm-up, 5 exercises with some reps or time needed, and some cool down exercises to go with it. For example, I have recently sprained my wrist a little, so I can ask it, oh, please avoid exercises that'll strain my wrist. It can give you a simple, easy list of exercises to do. The caveat though, now, exercise is also something I would recommend having an expert show you what to do. And in that case, you can, for example, look at Jeff from Atlian X. I think his YouTube channel is, most people have heard of him. You can look at exact exercises. He has uploaded videos about how to keep proper posture doing those exercises. Again, having a quick plan is usually a big hurdle, and that you can have immediately with the use of generative AI. What you should not do is, it can, I think, to some extent, look at pictures and tell you if you're using correct posture or not. But the best way to do it is using a YouTuber like Atlian X showing exactly how to do each exercise out of the 5 that AI recommended you. Just use that as a reference to do the exercise. For the next part, let's talk from perspective of parents, for example. When you have kids, summer holidays going on in many countries now, your kid might be bored at home. Maybe they don't have something interesting to do. And in that case, an easy way to start would be asking AI to suggest screen-free indoor activity plan, for example, 4 to 7-year-olds. Maybe you have some cardboard boxes lying around from a recent shopping, some paper, some crayons. You can ask it to give you some plan for some activity to do, or you can get AI to create quiz, maze, puzzle activity set that can be used to, again, fill out some time. Things don't have to be very difficult or super complicated. What you want is easy prompts giving you some easy to do tasks, again, saving time in looking for these, and free. Or if you have a teenager at home, you can create a chore plan and make it some point system. Again, you can ask it to design an initial plan, and then you can try to modify it based on how it would work for your household. Another easy way to use generative AI would be, for parents, would be to plan a party. Again, everybody can plan a party using AI, but for kids, you want usually themed parties. Again, you may not know all the topics your kid follows, but if they are interested in mermaids, you can ask it to give you an initial idea about what kind of cake could be there, what kind of plates could be there, what kind of decoration could be there that fits into the theme. And all of these things AI is usually very good at giving you an answer to. And then you use that as an initial plan, you look around what you can find, and then you adjust to your own needs. Moving on from parents, maybe you're a student. And for students also, always remember you don't want to use AI to write all of your essays. But what you can use AI for is the initial outline, the draft of an essay, where it can help you search through internet and find important points that would go into whatever topic you're looking at. Maybe it would be Roman civilization. You're writing a 2,000 word essay. You can ask it for key timeline, key points that you should focus on. And based on those 10 points, you write the essay for that. The point of writing essays, especially in school, is to learn how to do all these extensive writings. If AI writes for you, you're not learning anything from it. True, if you're using AI for searching through topics, you're missing out a little bit on the search part. But I would say that is a good trade-off, because a lot of times we do get stuck. You start searching for a topic these days, then you find some articles about it, then you find some YouTube videos about it, and before you know it, the evening is gone. That is something generative AI can help you minimize and optimize. For example, if you have an examination coming up at school where you have 5 subjects to study for, you have a limited 2-hour budget of time every evening, what you can do is you can ask AI to quickly create a time schedule for you for those 5 subjects that you want, give it the topics that you need. You can also ask it to create an extensive test for you, maybe an easy one and a difficult one. Give it how many questions you need, subtopics preferably. But you can do all of those things without spending a lot of your time, you can get all these planned out in maybe 10-15 minutes. Definitely a nice way to use generative AI, in my opinion. Remember, I told you not to use generative AI for any kind of medical advice. But let's say you do have some condition, and if you're avoiding a certain kind of food product, or just because you have some condition, what you could do is ask it to look into the recipe. If you bought something, you want it to check quickly for ingredients. Again, if you know there's a very fine print written ingredients on a lot of the food products these days, it can quickly read through and find you something that you wanted to avoid. Another would be if you're taking medication, you can ask it to create medicine checklist, let's say, because some meds you want to take twice a day, some once a day, some 3 times a day. You enter all that information, you ask it to create a schedule for you, you print it out and you put it on your fridge. Easy to track all these kinds of things once you have a plan. If we look through some of the easy to relate problems where you can start thinking about using AI, generative AI in particular, to save some time. Easy way to think about in using this tool is looking for a problem where you're stuck. You might need to spend a lot of time doing some research, or you might need to spend a lot of time scrolling through social media, which is, you may not agree with me, but what I feel is a time waste. Not because it can't be useful, because the way all this content is being made these days is made to just maximize your time spent and not giving you more output out of it. So use AI to save your time and use it for doing other things that you might enjoy. Thank you. Like and subscribe if you found anything in here that helped you pick up a generative AI or something that you could relate to. Leave in comments down below anything that you do that makes your day-to-day life easier by using generative AI. See you next time.